Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode number 65 of the All Things Cleveland Cavaliers podcast. I'm not going to waste much time today. You already know who your hosts are, Brandon Lewis, Joey Schneider. We are two pissed off Cleveland Cavaliers fans after what we watched over the last week. And Joey, I'm going to let you go ahead and get it started.
You know, before we go into the straight up brain aneurysm that I'm going to have on this episode, I do want to say congratulations to the Cavs and to Dean Wade. Dean Wade coming back from injury. Obviously, looks like he's going to need some time to get into game shape, but it is good to have him back because this bench needs a ton of help, Brandon. They look terrible, and we are going to get into that. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about the last three games the Cavs have played since we have recorded. First game, the Warriors on January 20th. Oh, my God, Brandon. No Steph Curry, no Klay Thompson, no Draymond Green, no Andrew Wiggins. We basically were playing a G League team, and they shot us out of the building. Now, yes, this team was hot. They were shooting threes just all over the place. I do not want to hear the argument that they were just extremely efficient, really hot. They shot the ball. Yes, they shot the ball great. You know how you stop someone from shooting the ball great? With good freaking defense. And we obviously weren't doing it. You could see, I've watched that game back multiple times. Just so many open players. You can't, I mean, they're still in the NBA. I don't care if it's one of the worst players in the league. If they have a shot, and we know that the Warriors, almost everyone on the Warriors can shoot the three, and we're just leaving them wide open, and they're drilling these threes. I don't know what they were doing. That game was absolutely pitiful, and I feel like that might be the lowest point that this Cavs might be this season.
That game hurt. That was the lowest point the Cavs have been, I would argue, since before they drafted Evan Mobley. That was absolutely abysmal. That was unbelievable how they came out and they acted like they were just going to steamroll a Golden State Warrior G League team that you and I have both said, listen, yeah, they may be bench players, but everybody in the NBA can shoot. You have to come out ready to play, and the more you let teams freaking hang around, the more they're going to have a chance to beat you. I don't understand the mentality of this team. Again, I've been saying it for weeks ever since day one of this season. They don't come out ready to play. They play down to their competition. And, you know, I don't want to hear too. I saw somebody on Twitter say, well, you know, Donovan Mitchell is really our old team, and he was out. So freaking what? You still have 3 all-stars on this team. I don't. The Cavs have arguably one of the most talented starting lineups in the NBA. When Mitchell's out there, they have 4 potential all-stars out there in their starting lineup. And then when Jordan Poole and DiVincenzo and these guys just absolutely straight up dominate them pretty much from the opening tip. The 120-114 score did not indicate how bad this game was. We were down to a G League Golden State team in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, by 17 points. And they almost had 90 points in the third quarter for the so-called second best defense in the NBA, which hasn't played like it in a month. Again, we talked about this last week. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's a player thing. I don't know if it's just a chemistry thing. I don't know what it is. But this team right now is blatantly freaking terrible.
You know, you got to start at the top, and I'm going to start with JB. His rotations have been god awful over this last, I don't know, 1 month or so. You got to put it on JB. That's where it goes first and foremost. Secondly, there's players that are just one game, they're in it. The next game, they disappear. And we're going to talk about that next, because the next game, the Cavs played the Milwaukee Bucks at home without Giannis. And yeah, okay, we won 114-102, but it took Evan Mobley to finally have
listen to us.
Finally having a monster game at 38 points, 9 rebounds to do so. And this is the Evan Mobley we need night in and night out, because as we're going to get to in a few minutes, it feels like he disappeared in the next game.
Yep, completely agree.
But this is the problem. Excuse me. There's my one.
Clear it all out.
Yep. Evan Mobley. This is what you need to be doing every single night. Having a coming out party with 38 points and 9 boards, and I think he had a couple of big blocks in that game as well. You can't do that once in a season, and everyone thinks that he's, this is the Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley has only done that one time in his career where he's had that big of a game, and it was against the Bucks, and we needed it to win. If he didn't have that big game, we may have lost to a Giannis-less Bucks, which is actually frustrating to think about.
And coming off a back-to-back where, again, you were embarrassed the night before. You know what? Saturday night, I was expecting, when I heard that Giannis was out, I was maybe hoping, I mean, this Cavs team, you never know what the hell you're going to get from this team, but I thought, you know what? This is a good opportunity for them to come out, put that game behind you, and just come out and just smash Milwaukee. And what do? They're playing from behind. They're down to the fourth quarter. Basically, Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis were beating the Cavaliers up until the fourth quarter. And again, Drew Holiday, good player. Bobby Portis is a good player. Not compared to this Cavs team that on those two nights facing those two opponents, and yes, those two teams both have really good benches and really good championship pedigree, but on both of those occasions, you are at home. Their star players are not playing, and both those teams acted like they wanted the game more, that a team that should be hungry, that a team that should have came out this year and proven everybody, hey, last year was not a fluke. We are a legit up-and-coming playoff / championship contending basketball team. And just the absolute lack of awareness, the lack of effort, the lack of defense, the lack of consistency. Just this team does not feel like they're together. You talk about the lineups are mix and match. Guys are just doing whatever they want out there. It feels like they're not playing very well as a team. And it's like when one thing goes bad for this team, they're like a bunch of front runners. When they get the huge lead, they're all excited, they're all good, everything's popping. As soon as there's a little bit of adversity, boom, they're down by 5. Boom, they're down by 10. Then it takes Donovan Mitchell, who came back against the Knicks. And it wasn't for Donovan Mitchell making that a game, that could have been even a worse loss, but they blew another lead, which we'll get to in a second. Oh, I'm so mad about this team.
This is how angry that, you know what? And I shouldn't say it's even anger, it's frustration. Because we are this angry about a 12-point win over the Bucks. Because if you put Giannis on that game, Cavs don't win.
We're getting blown out.
We're getting destroyed. This team has been constructed to be a contender. Now, we're going to move on to the Knicks game because I think that this is a better example of why we are losing games and why I put a big chunk of the blame on JB and on a couple of other players as well. We lose to the Knicks 105-103, and what was a pretty exciting game coming down to the wire. It took heroics by Donovan Mitchell to get us that close. Darius Garland, another good game. I'm going to say this. If there are 3 players who I can't really be upset with, it's Darius Garland, because this entire month, I believe DG's averaging 20 points and 10 boards. Yep. I'm sorry, 20 points, 10 assists. Yeah, he's 5th in the league in assists with over 8 per game, and he's averaging over 20 points per game, same as he did last year. And he's doing that with another superstar beside him. Can't blame DG. How many games has Donovan Mitchell, absolutely gone off? Yeah, exactly. And the other is Jared Allen. Yeah. Jared Allen last night against the Knicks. Yeah, 20 was he 24, 26, 20, something like that.
I want to say. I know he had 18 or something in the first half.
Yeah, I think he ended up like 26 and 18, or I'm sorry, 26 and 12 or 28 and 12. He's been playing absolutely phenomenal. He knows where to go. He had a huge block at the end of the game to help us. So I cannot fault those three players. Who I can fault is JB. When we had the lead, he brought in Rubio, he brought in Love, he brought in Dean Wade, and we got our asses kicked. We were down by 10 before we even knew what happened to us, and we can never regain the lead back. Ricky Rubio is not in game shape yet. He needs more time. Dean Wade needs time, and Kevin Love. I like Kevin Love. I am telling you right now, Brandon, I am reversing course. Kevin Love is on the table for me in any trade discussion.
I completely agree. You know why? Because I've been looking at his stats. And I did not realize this. I did not realize this. Do you realize Kevin's averaging 7 points a freaking game? That's it.
Not just that. If you remember a couple of, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes ago, we were talking about Kevin Love, and I said, well, it's not like he's shooting 20% from 3. He is shooting 20% from 3 now.
They say all the time with veteran like players, sometimes a guy will have a great year, and the next year, all of a sudden, you get old and you just hit the wall. I'm here to say, I think Love's hit the wall. He looks a completely different. He doesn't look like he belongs right now on an NBA court. The shot, I don't know if it's his finger. I don't know what's going on with his shot. His shot is flat. It's not up. It's nowhere even close to the basket.
And the other thing is there, you can see the difference from last year and even earlier parts of this year to now. It's almost like he doesn't look like he's having as much fun.
Nope. And he looks pissed off on the bench, like he's giving JB the side eye. Like I don't know, like what the hell has happened with this team. But again, it's like you are relying on one to basically be your 6th man of the year because we all thought he could stay in that form. Well, that might be what the hell happened to the bench because we have no fucking scoring off the bench. And yes, I just dropped an F-bomb there because I'm that pissed off about this team.
I loved it. We
came into this year, Joey, saying, hey, we think the Cavs are one of the top depth benches of the league. We have no freaking depth. Absolutely none right now. It's why our starters are playing 40 minutes a game. They're worn out by the time the fourth quarter hits.
You know what? This is the frustrating thing, Brandon. This is what is really frustrating is this Cavs team right now is 29 and
29-20, something like that.
I think they're 29-20. That's exactly what they are. They should have at least 35 wins. They should have 35 wins right now, and they don't. And it's frustrating because and I tweeted this out, watching the Cavs is almost like the movie Groundhog's Day. You watch the same freaking game over and over. And it's this team is better than that. You have Garland averaging 20 and 8. You have Allen averaging, I think, something like 15 and 10 or 15 and 9, something. You have Mitchell averaging 20 plus a game, and he's having the best assist totals in his career. You have 3 guys who are putting a lot in. We had, I think, 12 bench points last night. 12
and bench points. They were all like plus minus and minus 20, 25 on the court. I mean, every day we put in our bench, they're getting absolutely blown off the freaking floor.
I'm going to tell you this right now. There is a player on this team who I don't know if I would trade. Now, you might not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you something. At 21 years old, he has been showing me his improvements.
You're going to say Okoro.
Oh yeah. Isaac Okoro shooting almost 50% from 3 in the month of January. Who would have thought we would have said Isaac Okoro was shooting 50% from 3 in a month?
Okoro's turnaround has been somebody has taken his arm, chopped it off, put a new shooting arm on, and told him to use that to freaking shoot because he has been. If it wasn't for him, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I've been the one bashing on Okoro for 2 years. If it wasn't for him, this team would have no scoring outside of Garland, Mitchell, and Allen.
Well, I would say that
LeVert maybe a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, depending on who's starting the game too. I mean, Okoro's come off the bench. Okoro started. We have no idea who's starting at that wing position.
We have no rotation. Same thing last year.
But you look at like for the longest time we were saying, well, Okoro needs to do this. Okoro needs to do that. He needs to do something. Well, you know what? There's been games in this past 3-4 weeks where Okoro's put up, 18 points. He's shot 4 for 4 from three. He's shooting. I think this month he's shooting. I want to say just about 85 or 90% from free throw. He's slashing to the rim, and what he's not putting the ball in the hoop like last night. He only had 9 points, but he had 5 boards and he had 6 assists.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running in transition. He's getting steals. He had a great block from behind. Isaac Okoro might be exactly what I said at the beginning of the year, what a lot of people around the league have said, which is maybe he's just coming along a lot more slowly.
Yeah.
Maybe he might be that Jimmy Butler type player, because I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Okoro right now. Now that tune can change, but Okoro has looked like someone who wants to win, and with this bench is very suspect right now. I don't know. Chetty was doing great for a while, and now I don't know where he's been. Kevin Love, obviously, we just went on a crazy rant about. Dean Wade has to get in shape. I mean, you need to stop with all of these players. I get it. We talked about this. They have a deep bench. You got to pick 9 guys, maybe.
Yep.
Pick your best 9 guys and put them and start someone at the freaking wing. If they might need to figure it out on the wing by a trade. And me and you, we just had this conversation the last couple of episodes, and I'm going to let you talk here in a second because I know you're jumping at the bit too. And people, we want you to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. We understand the Cavs are still 9 games above 500, that they are still, as of right now, a playoff team. And I think that they will find a way to figure it out and turn it around. But for right now, this team should have at least 35 wins. If you have watched the games, you should know this team should be 35 and 13. There was a 14, 35 and 14. But we're not. And that's why we're frustrated. Because this is a team that should be a dominant team in the NBA, one of the top teams in the NBA. And if you have watched them play, you would know they can be. But we are watching them either play up to a level of a team we see them play elite teams, and they play up to that level where either they beat a team by a couple of points or lose them by a couple of points. And then they play the worst of the worst, and they play down to their level. What is going on? I don't have the answers, but I can tell you what I see. One is we got to get the rotations fixed. You can't, you know what? You can't use everybody, Brandon. As much as you want to, you can't do it.
You can't. And I do think too, like, one of the problems would be with trading Love. Like, I completely agree with you. Love is definitely on my trade target now. But if you trade Love, outside of Dean Wade, really, there's nobody else reliable you can put at that power forward spot. And we're seeing it now with Jared Allen. They have Robin Lopez. I mean, as we talked about this, they don't use him. So essentially, we don't have a backup center or a backup power forward right now that are giving you any production. It's mostly, Okoro, LeVert, Stevens, who occasionally will come in, and then you just won't see him for the rest of the game. Osman will get a little bit of a stretch in the second quarter, and then you won't see him for the rest of the game. Listen, I think JB Bickerstaff, we talked about this maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he's a really good motivator and a good speaker, and I understand. I think the Cavs really like him as a person, but as an in-game manager, and that's mostly the head coach's job in basketball. As an in-game manager, to me, he lacks complete awareness and situational awareness. When these guys are struggling, take a time out, get them to settle down. There's often times where they will literally go on a 10-0 run, and JB's calling a timeout. We got all the momentum. Until they're screaming, go, why? No, you're just taking away the momentum back right now. Who cares if they're a little bit tired? Push them, because we have all of the momentum right now. And last night, the last play was a perfect example. Mitchell goes to the basket. Again, the NBA 2-minute report said Mitchell got fouled on both of those plays. Yeah, so be it. Mitchell kicks it back out to Evan Mobley. I don't know if we had a timeout or not, but I bet you we did. I don't know if we used it because there was no design to that last play at all. And I looked it up. We had, I believe, one timeout remaining. I don't understand why. Oh my God. Just watching this team makes you want to go to Walgreens, buy some headache, buy some ibuprofen medicine, and just start popping some because they just do stupid, dumb, ignorant, what bad basketball teams do every single night. And it doesn't matter who they're playing. Tomorrow night, we're playing Houston. We should beat Houston, but I'm sure about Jalen Green can go for 30 or 40 and beat us by himself pretty much. Absolutely, he could. The way this team's going right now.
And you got their center Alperen Sengun.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce his name,
but I believe.
Yeah, he's been on a tear lately. He might have, Julius Randle hit 9 threes last night.
There's no accountability on this team, and I think Mitchell. Me and you talked about we needed some dogs on this team, and Mitchell has brought out that dog mentality. But Mitchell is only one guy. There are other locker room people: Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Kevin Love. Like when shit hits the fan, somebody outside of one person needs to speak up and be a leader on this team.
If you're talking on the court, I think, Donovan Mitchell has the dog in him. I think Lamar Stevens does too.
For sure.
And I think I think that if he keeps improving, Okoro could be one of those guys too. Because Okoro just, I don't know, something about, all I'm saying, Brandon, and I hate to keep harping on Okoro. All I'm saying is I think if his confidence starts going up, you're gonna see those numbers keep rising and rising and rising.
Do we need to call Kendrick Perkins out of retirement and have him go fight somebody to wake this team up?
Oh man. I think Kendrick Perkins just loves a fight, period. But no, I
feel like that's the attitude. Like this team just, again, I love our players and I get that they are so young, but there is a difference. And as much as we're banging on JB said something, and I believe it was after the Bucks game, and I do agree with this. He said sometimes players are just made for winning time, and he was talking about Evan Mobley, and he said, Mobley sometimes is very inconsistent, but he says and he feels that Mobley, when it gets time for the game in the moment in the playoffs, Evan Mobley will make plays. And I said, look, I will give you that. The problem is, I don't know if it's true or not because we've never seen it because this team hasn't been involved in any experience, which worries me when you're going to be going up potentially against a Miami Heat, who we will see this week, when you're playing an experienced team like a Philly or a Boston, because those guys do have playoff experience. And this Cavs team, they're just like lollygagging for the regular season, like they've been there and done that. Yeah, that's okay if you have superstar like players that have won championships on your team before, but this team needs every single freaking win they can get.
Let's talk about one Evan Mobley right now.
Ooh.
Because we need to slow it down just a second. We need composure here. And what the hell is going on with Evan Mobley, Brandon? I mean, he has 38 points one game. He's invisible the game before that. And then the next game, it's like, I see him do things, and I'm like, how the hell does he do that? Like, he had the ball, he did a spin move, took a step and a half to the hoop, and gently laid it in, and he was basically at the elbow. I'm like, oh my God, he pulls off these amazing moves. I don't think he realizes how freaking good he is. And I
don't think so either. And again, we talked on it, like with a Coral, I think a similar thing does apply a little bit to Mobley. They're so young, but again, it's like you got to figure out because different players make different things tick. Somebody's got to figure out what the hell makes Evan Mobley tick and make that man get mean. Because I think a little nasty mean streak to Mobley, and he will absolutely dominate whoever is on that court against him. And for some reason, it feels like he's in the back, the blacktop playing with kids when he faces teams that are very small, especially at forward and center. He can dominate them. He can get his basket. But when he's facing teams that have your 6'11" or your near 7 foot guys and they're throwing bodies at him, it's like he's afraid to make contact. And he doesn't know whether to shoot, whether to go inside, Like he doesn't know his own game. And what I say to that is, dude, go up strong, dunk the goddamn basketball. I hate seeing all of these weak attempts the way into the rim because you will get fouls. Use your height, use your strength at your advantage, young man, which he doesn't do consistently.
You're calling him a young man, only being like a year or two older than him. It's very frustrating with Mobley, because me and you have called him a generational talent, a future generational talent, and I still hold that true to be. I still think that is 100% true, but I do not think he realizes how good he is on the court, how dominant that he can be if he just did it. Don't think about doing it, just do it. I mean, he is a freak of nature, but it's like he's just afraid to just go and do it. Like, go, get in there, man. Get that aggression. How many times last year did you hear me say, get aggressive, be more aggressive? He needs to be more aggressive. He's not aggressive. He's extremely passive. And when we need a rebound, and he had a couple of great plays last night, to keeping the ball alive, but so did Jared Allen. Jared Allen, basically diving into the crowd to keep plays alive. Evan Mobley, just like we were talking about with other players, Evan Mobley needs some of that dog in him too. He needs to toughen up. He needs to realize that he can out jump probably 99% of the rest of the NBA, if not all of them. He is 7 feet tall, and I mean, he's skies. He pulls off moves that in my head, I go, I don't know if I've seen anyone do something like that. And it could be the most basic of moves, but he does it so fluidly.
Yes.
For someone that's 7 feet tall. And it's frustrating because it's like you see like this animal that wants to be unleashed, and it can't. It is caged up. The locks are on, and no one will let this damn animal out. If Evan Mobley just turns the switch on and says, you know what, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna take this shot from the free throw line, just like he did against the Bucks. 38 points, and he was shooting. Yeah, I mean, he was hitting. He was getting the close to the bucket. But if you looked at his shot chart, he was all over He was hitting it from anywhere. He didn't even
shoot a free throw attempt, which is amazing.
I know, 38 points. And you know why? Because he doesn't get in there and bang. Maybe he would have had 40, 48, or 50 if he would have actually got in there and banged amongst the trees like he is, but he doesn't. Evan Mobley, listen, my man, if you unleash yourself, if you allow yourself to realize that you potentially could be one of the top 5 players in the NBA, you will be one of the top 5 players in the NBA. You have to, whatever mental block is going on right now, man, let it go and just let everything go and unleash the freaking animal that wants to come out. I promise you, you will be an absolute force to be reckoned with for the next 15 years. Just let it go. Same with Okoro. Like, Okoro is just get to the rim, man. Jam it down. I mean, how many times you see Okoro go up and you're just like, oh, he's flying. And now he's starting to put it together with the other facets of his game, his rebounding. I mean, we always knew his defense was good, but his rebounding, his assist, his three-point shooting, he's putting it all together. If he keeps up and doing well, I don't know if, I still think this season we need to figure out the small forward.
Yeah. And listen, I have said for the past few months on this podcast, what I don't want the Cavs to be is every year being that 5th seed or that 4th seed or that 6th seed that makes the first round and then either makes the second round or they go home.
We don't want the Cavs to be the Hawks when the Cavs had LeBron and Kyrie.
It is the worst. It is the absolute worst. I'd rather be Detroit. I'd rather be absolutely freaking terrible than be in that spot where you're just so close every year, but yet you feel so far away at the same time. And I don't know what it is with this team, but the thing that worried me the most, to be honest with you right now, is just lack of awareness and lack of accountability. It's like when you get embarrassed like that, especially on your own court against Golden State, You should have came out and you should have came ready to play against a Giannis-less Milwaukee team, blew them out. That didn't happen. Well, they didn't play well. They should have went to the Knicks. They should have been rested. They should have been ready to play. And in the third quarter, they were up 8 points. And like you said, the bench came in. They turned the ball over. The Cavs have never recovered because it just almost feels like that they are going through the motions of the regular season. Again, I get it. It's long. It sounds like Donovan Mitchell now could be out a couple more games, which is going to put, in my opinion, even more pressure on your third option, which is number 4, Evan Mobley, to be the Evan Mobley that should have won Rookie of the Year last year. So,
I mean, I'm, you know what? I can't say that he should have won Rookie of the Year last year anymore because Scotty Barnes has taken that next step this year. Scotty Barnes is putting up 30 points on a consistent basis on a team. You know, I mean, the Raptors, I don't know what's going on with the Raptors. They're just not playing well. But Scotty Barnes is doing everything that he can. He's getting double doubles, 30 and 10, or 30 and 30 points, 10 rebounds, 3 points, 10 assists. He's able to do a little bit of everything. I don't know. I can't say Evan Mobley should have been Rookie of the Year last year because if you look at this next step, he hasn't taken it. But maybe
it's almost like, I think we both kind of thought that he would use it as motivation. It's almost like it kind of took him as like a step back, like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. I don't know if it's a self-confidence thing. Isaiah Mobley, we have you on our team. You were my pick for breakout player of the year this year. Please use whatever power you can to get at your brother, because I know you two probably have quarrels every day. Whatever you do to
maybe they don't
off your brother, please piss him off.
Man, I'll always say my breakout players looking pretty good right now. But getting to those games, Brandon, the Cavs tomorrow night are going to be in Houston playing the Rockets. Rockets they're a weird team, man, because they got some really good players and a really crappy record.
They do. I believe they have the worst record in basketball, or at least very close to it.
But they got some really, really good young players.
They have some really good young players. And you know what? Again, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say the Rockets beat the Cavs tomorrow night. I really, it sucks. It sucks for me to say it, but I don't feel Joey's making me crack up over here. But seriously, I don't feel like this team is going to be ready to come out and play. You need to come out and you need to just stomp them into their grave, because all they care about is getting to May and getting that great French player, Victor Wembanyama or Scooter Anderson or whoever you want out of this great draft class coming up. That's all they care about. They don't care. To be honest with you, they'd rather lose the game than win it. But I'll tell you what, the Cavs are like, you know what? We're gonna come in here. We think we're so cool, yada yada yada, and the same thing's gonna happen over and over and over again. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. Houston's gonna come out of the first quarter. They're gonna do really well. They're gonna play well in the second quarter. It's gonna be a close game at halftime. Third quarter is gonna come. The Cavs are gonna go up by 10. The bench is going to come in. They're going to have a tie game by the time we hit the fourth quarter. It's going to be close to the fourth quarter, and whoever makes a play in the fourth quarter is going to win the game, and I believe that tomorrow night it's going to be Houston, because the way this team is going right now, I cannot pick them to win a game that they should win, because I know something stupid they're going to do to cost themselves the game.
I'm going to pick the Cavs, and the reason I'm going to pick the Cavs is because I have faith that JB is going to get into someone's ass on the team, or someone's gonna step up and say, "Listen, we can't keep doing this," and they're gonna come out. I'm not gonna say they're gonna kill the Rockets, because I think that what you said might actually be 100% true, but I think that the Cavs come out on top. I think it's gonna be a back and forth. I'm gonna say the Cavs come out on top. I'm going to still have faith for right now that they should beat a freaking team that they should beat, even though they didn't do it against the Warriors. Last week we were like, I have to go back and look, but I could have swore I said if they don't beat them by like 20 points, we're gonna riot.
Yeah,
and then they lost. So,
and we have done nothing but riot today.
Yeah, so but I am gonna pick the Cavs against the Rockets. The following game, which is Friday the 27th. The Cavs in OKC against the Thunder. Brandon, on this one, Again, I'm going to pick the Cavs. It's a team they should beat. I'm not going to pick I'm going to pick the Cavs over. I'm going by the schedule that I picked. This is a team they should beat.
Okay.
The Thunder are terrible, and I'm going to take the Cavs in this one, even though Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, arguably one of the best point guards playing in the NBA right now.
So he could beat the Cavs by himself. I don't think he will, unless the Cavs beat Houston. Then he might. I don't think the Cavs lose back to back here, but I think there's a good chance they lose one of them. For some reason, I think that they will lose to Houston. I think that they will get going at Oklahoma City. I think they put together a little bit of a better performance. They win by about 8-10. And then they will go home, Joey, to take on those Los Angeles Clippers, a very mysterious Los Angeles Clippers team. And I say that because they have a player named Kawhi Leonard who wears the jersey number 2, and you never know if he's going to play or not. Of course, he played last night, and they killed the Lakers. Then there's some weeks and months he goes without playing. We saw what the Cavs did last time against the Clippers. Kawhi did play in that game, if my memory serves me correct. It was a very close game. The Clippers ended up pulling out in LA. This time they are going to Cleveland, and our old friend, our old coach, Tyronn Lue, and those Clippers, they always play hard, and the Cavs have struggled against the West this year. And again, the way this is going, I'm going to say if Kawhi Leonard does indeed play, which I think it's actually more of a likelihood for some reason in my mind that he doesn't play than he does. But if Leonard does play, I think the Clippers are going to win, because I don't know if the Cavs have enough bodies right now to stop that win combination of Leonard and George. If he doesn't play, I think the Cavs will win a close game.
I'm gonna agree with you there. I think that it's at home. Obviously, the Cavs are one of the best home teams in the league. If Kawhi Leonard plays, I don't think Kawhi will play, but if he does play, I'm going to say the Clippers are going to win. If Kawhi does not play, the Cavs are going to win this game. I actually even say it's going to be very close, even if Kawhi does play. The Cavs just seem to have superhuman powers at home, and they tend to pull a lot of games out of their ass when they shouldn't.
Do they? Did you see him against Golden State?
Okay, I'm gonna go
kidding.
the one there was the worst one ever of all time. Jeez, oh man. And the last game that we're going to preview is going to be Tuesday, the last day of the month, January 31st. The Miami Heat are coming to Cleveland. This Miami Heat team has been looking very up and down, but they're still just an extremely dangerous team. You never know who's going to go off. I'm sorry, but I am going to take the Heat here. Something stupid's going to happen. It's going to be like your game with the Rockets. It's going to be a game that I think the Cavs are going to be up at 17 at one point in the game, and slowly get chipped away. And then they're going to be down by 10, and then they're going to make a comeback, and it's going to come down to like the final shot of the game. And, Donovan Mitchell's going to get fouled, and they're not going to call it. And then the NBA is going to come out the next day, the final 2-minute report, and say he got fouled. And me and you are going to be bitching about it on Wednesday.
Which shows everything, right? Because we're going to come out with a 2-minute report. Yeah, whatever. Don't get me started on that stupidest thing they ever came up with. Anyway, I agree with you. I think Miami is going to win this game. From last year, I haven't been the biggest fan of the Heat. Jimmy Butler has been in and out of the lineup a little bit. But there's something about this Miami team that just, for some reason, they have the Cavs number. And again, in this game, Spoelstra, really good coach. And I think Miami is doing a really good job at managing their guys, managing their minutes, and making sure everybody plays. And again, this is a situation where the Cavs, you are in a deep part of the season, and there is nothing right now that convinces me you can absolutely blow a team out and hold on to the lead. I think especially if Jimmy Butler plays. Miami, I think it's going to be a very good game, back and forth. I do agree. I think at one point the Cavs do get up. I think Miami comes back. And unfortunately for me, I think we're sitting at 1-3 over these next 4 games. 2-2 will feel like a miracle at this point, the way this team is playing, at least in my estimation. And I hope that next week, we'll be back first week of February. Trade deadline is right around the corner. It feels like a very different tone from what we were speaking about this time last year, and also very early in the season.
Well, the Cavs don't have the assets. So if they want to make any splash, They're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to involve a third team, and it's going to have to be the right move for that team, because you're basically going to be looking at teams who just want to get rid of cap, who want to drop cap space. I mean, that's going to be what you're going to be looking for, unless somehow the Cavs are able to pull off a trade for like a Cam Reddish, which we talked about, which is the most likely scenario. Although now they're saying the Lakers, after making that move for Hachimura, might be looking at Cam Reddish too.
The Lakers are going bargain shopping to maybe make the play-in tournament.
You know what? I'm a huge fan of Hachimura. He was not being used like he should have. I think that the kid has, he's got potential to be a phenomenal starter in this league.
He does.
And he wasn't getting the opportunity in Washington. Bring him to Cleveland. I would have loved it, but there's no point. We have Evan Mobley, we have Jared Allen. I think he needs to be a starter somewhere, and hopefully he'll get that opportunity alongside LeBron out in LA. But I'm sure as rumors come, we'll be talking about them over the next. I want to say the trade deadline's what, the 14th?
It is February. I believe it's the 9th, whatever that
Thursday
is it the 9th? Yep. It's February 9th at 3 p.m.
So we only have
about 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're only gonna have one episode to really talk about any trade rumors that are going on with the Cavs. We might be covering more trade rumors around the league just to see what happens. Who knows? Maybe we're gonna get crazy and do a special trade deadline episode.
Who the hell knows, man?
But I do want to point this out, Brandon, before we sign off here. Listen, guys, we love the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are our team. They are our hometown team. We are frustrated because we know how good they are, how good they can be, and that they should be a number 1 or number 2 seed in the East. That is our frustration, that they are losing to these G League teams. You can't have a team sit their 4 best players and then lose to that team by, I forget what they lost them by, 10 or 8 or something like that. They shouldn't have lost at all. They should have blown them out by 20, but we didn't. We lost. Then we lose to a Knicks team. Knicks have been playing tough all year, but they are a team that the Cavs should beat. That is our frustration. We love the Cavs. We have faith that they are going to turn it around. And Brandon, you know what it is time for?
It's time for the Cavs to get their shit together.
It's 100% time for the Cavs to get their shit together. But you know what it's time for even after that.
Indeed. It is time to let them know. We'll see you guys next week on ATC.